How's everyone doing out there today? Good? I gotta say, I'm Chris McLaughlin from Warner Brothers Television Publicity, and it is so good to see all you followers out there. Thank you so much for coming today to today's session for one of the most exciting, kick-ass, and oh my God, I can't believe that happened shows on television, the following. We'd like to thank all you followers out there who helped make this show the highest rated new program of the 2012-2013 season. After a special video presentation, TV Guide's editor-in-chief, Deb Birnbaum, will moderate a Q&A with the cast and executive producers. The following will premiere in January 2014 on Fox and is available now for digital download on your favorite platforms. And don't forget to visit the Warner Brothers booth, where you can pick up an exclusive Warner Brothers-themed Comic-Con issue of TV Guide featuring 8 collector's covers and interviews with the following's cast and executive producers. So now, please sit back, put on your Edgar Allan Poe masks, and join the following.
Hi, I'm Deborah Birnbaum, the president and editor-in-chief of TV Guide magazine, and I'm proud to call myself a follower. I feel like I should have worn a bulletproof vest today, because anyone who gets close to these guys ends up in a body bag or buried alive. This was my favorite pilot of last season, and I know yours too, and it kept me and millions of fans on the edge of our seats through 15 episodes, through all of those fantastic, unexpected twists and turns. And then there's that finale. Did any of you see that one coming? Someone's got some explaining to do, and luckily we've got the right people on hand to do it. I feel like we should name this show Survivor, because these are the lucky few who made it out alive. So let's bring them out and see what we can find out what's in store for next season. She's the follower everyone loves to hate or hates to love. She plays Emma Hill, Valerie Curry. He's an executive producer and an evil genius who's also one of the directors of some of your favorite episodes, executive producer Marco Siega. He's our hero who saved the day, caught the killer, got the girl, well, until those last 5 minutes. Kevin Bacon plays Ryan Hardy. And we'll play musical chairs in between.
Yeah, we screwed up already.
He's the executive producer behind all those twists and turns, Kevin Williamson. He's our good-hearted FBI agent who was often beaten but never broken. He plays Mike Weston, Shawn Ashmore. So, Mr. Williamson, I'm going to start with you. You tweeted ominously, season 2 is
We have, before we start, we have something we want to show exclusively
right, of
for...
course.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we got a little clip that we
Yes.
want to show you guys. And it's never before seen footage. And it kind of sort of answers some things or so forth. And it's a little sneak for, what's in store. And we thought we'd show it to you. It's just a little something.
So play the clip.
Let's do it.
We intercepted this downstairs. What do I owe you? It's on us. Thanks, man.
You were always my chapter. Joe promised me I would be the one. Okay, I smell food.
Well, that wasn't going to be my first question, but okay. Well, will there be a time jump at the start of season 2, or are we going to pick up right after that left off?
Oh, me.
All right. Who left their cell phone on?
I am so sorry. I gotta
You're up?
yes. I gotta take this, I'm sorry. Hello.
Hello, Ryan. Are you forgetting someone?
Joe? I thought you were dead.
On the contrary, Ryan. I'm very much alive and kicking. My apologies for not calling sooner.
What do you want, Joe? I'm kind of in the middle of something here.
You didn't really think you could do a Comic-Con panel without me, did you?
I didn't know where to send the invite. Why don't you tell me where you are, and I'll come get you.
Oh, you'll find out soon enough.
Thank you for joining us. I think.
Hello, Comic-Con. Good to be back.
So that's an interesting new look you're sporting there.
I thought I'd go for the kind of John Lennon on the front cover of Abbey Road look today.
Would that be related to the show, perhaps?
Well, it's just the idea of the phoenix risen from the ashes.
Should we take that literally?
Well, perhaps you'd have to ask Kevin Williamson a little bit more about that.
Kevin?
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess he might be alive.
I was sure I killed him.
I'm not going to give up. You know, look, I can't, you know, we're not going to, I don't want to give too much more away except to say, of course, Joe Carroll will figure into next season so in some way, shape, or form. And to say too much would be to spoil the fun.
And we would not want to do that.
No.
Okay. So back to my original question. Will there be a time jump, or are we going to start right where we left off?
Well, we do, you know, you saw the clip of the where we left off, and that, you know, basically our teaser, and then we will jump forward a year later in the show, and we'll come up, you know, we have our surviving characters, and we'll sort of see, you know, where they are. We'll catch up with them, and then, of course, you know, stuff will happen.
You've said in interviews that second seasons are your favorite. A lot of other shows have suffered from sophomore slumps. How are you going to avoid that? What are you looking forward to about second seasons?
Yeah, I don't know. I love second seasons because, you know, you figure out the things that work, the things you did wrong, the things that you could improve upon, the things that you can do better, and also you've got your actors and they're embodied their characters, and so it just becomes a richer, more meaningful experience, a more emotional experience. I don't know. I just find that you just get your sea legs and you're just sort of ready to rock and roll by the time the second season rolls around.
Marcos, what about you?
I think first seasons are full of, you know, every time we'd hear the audience sort of say, well, that's ridiculous, or we were very aware of the things that we could do better, but you're sort of chasing it in the first season. Now Kevin has the time to sit with the writers and figure out a more complex story and how to tell it, and I'm really excited. I can tell you it's better than the first.
Yep.
We're looking forward to that. The first season very much played out as a chase of, you know, Ryan trying to chase Joe Carroll. What's the storyline going to be of the second season?
Well, you know, when we, you know, once again, not to give too much away, but one of the we come upon Ryan Hardy a year later, and the chase, you know, it's not going to be. Last year, Ryan was brought in as a consultant in a task force, right smack in the middle of the FBI, and this year, you know, we're taking it away from the FBI, and he won't be so focused in the, you know, certainly we have Agent Weston, but you know, the A story every week will not be so FBI local centric. You know, it'll sort of be more of a character-driven thriller as opposed to sort of the FBI chase.
Kevin Bacon, this was your first TV series. Was it everything you thought it was going to be? What were your expectations, and how did it deliver?
Yeah, everything and more. I love the opportunity to go to work every day with these fantastically talented people that are sitting up here. I really like the pace, and I really find it exhilarating to spend, you know, 16 hours walking in Ryan's shoes, you know, 16 hours a day, and page after page, pounding away. It's been really fun, and of course, the reaction from people who reach out, you know, on the street or wherever is really, it makes me feel great. You know, I've said before that there's a different thing about being an actor on television, because you come into people's homes and you stay there, and you come week after week after week, and I think there's a real connection that they feel for you that is deeper, it seems, than even to actors in movies.
You've often said that no one on this show has job security, including you. Is it true you suggested killing off Ryan Hardy?
Well, I think that I was having a couple bad days.
Those New York winters?
Yeah, it was the New York winters. I mean, I think that, I think one of the cool things about being on a show like this and about television these days, you see oftentimes that anything can happen. And it becomes extremely important to us and to an audience, not to spoil things, not to tip things when it's too early to tip them, and to hold on to the secrets. I know that I like that in the shows that I watch, and that's certainly a big part of our show. So I could die.
For all of the actors, what plot twist surprised you the most? Sean, do you want to start?
Which plot twist surprised me the most? I'll go back to the pilot and the reveal with Emma and the neighbors. I mean, that's where the show really hooked me from the get-go. When I read the pilot, I knew it was going to be something different. I knew it was going to be something that was going to break the mold. And so to me, that was what established the sort of twists and turns in the show. And also, from that moment forward, there was, I think, half the audience that thought maybe Weston was a bad guy, or you weren't sure who was good and bad. And I think that those are the seeds that Kevin Williamson planted in the pilot, the fact that you just can't trust anybody. And I think that's, the whole first season was sort of based on those twists and turns. So I think the pilot got me.
Valerie, what about you?
I think, at least thinking in terms of, with my character, the biggest surprise to me was the infamous shower scene. And what surprised me, I think, as an actor is because after several episodes of Emma trying to manipulate Paul in order to control him, what I found when we actually filmed the scene was what a vulnerable, emotional scene that turned out to be. And that was a twist, and that changed the whole relationship and changed all the characters. And I think after that, with Emma, it really broke through that wall she puts up and that veneer. And you started to see the cracks and the vulnerable girl underneath that I didn't know yet either. And Kevin just started to sort of give her to me in the scripts.
James, what about you?
I think that, every single week, whenever I opened a script and read a script, I was always kind of gobsmacked and amazed by the things that Kevin had done and written and the twists and turns therein. But I think for me, probably the killing off of Agent Parker. I was sort of staggered that Kevin decided to do that. It was a terrible thing to do. Because I kind of loved Danny Paris, and I thought she was in it for the long haul. So to see her actually cop it was, that was extraordinary. So that was for me the biggest plot twist. Yeah.
He liked her because she gave him the book, and
he
thought they had a connection.
I thought with Parker and I had a thing going.
You did.
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon, what about you? What was the most surprising thing for you?
Let's see. I guess I would agree with Sean. Seeing the gay neighbors, that they weren't gay, and then that they weren't even neighbors.
Oh, that.
I didn't. Yeah, but again, I agree with James in that. It is that thing where we get our scripts and we're really excited and we really go, oh man, I didn't see that coming, and I'm on the show, and, so that's really fun.
I think it was fun for the viewers too. You guys agree? For the producers, I know you guys took a lot of heat at the beginning of the show for all the violence, but I think TV certainly has changed as the season continued. And how has that impacted the show as you continue to write it, and how has that impacted your thoughts as you go into season 2?
Me? It's tough because it's a lot of it is subjective. It's like what I find violent, other people don't. What I don't find violent, other people do, or too much in terms of degrees. But I don't really think about it. I don't really like a lot of blood. I'm not. I get squeamish. I certainly don't like real blood. It's make believe. It's fiction, and I do believe in that we should be able to write and tell the stories that it's all fiction. And if you can't tell the difference between fiction and reality, then you got a problem, and it goes a lot deeper than the TV show at 9 o'clock on Monday nights. And so I don't know how to answer like the bigger question about violence and TV and film and cinema. But I sympathize with it, and I sympathize with all the real life violence. But this is fiction, and it's being told, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I believe so I don't compare the two. I don't think it's responsible. So
We're all really affected by real violence, but Kevin and I don't want to see the reality of it. But the show needed to have, that element.
And we don't try to overdo it. We try to be respectful. I think sometimes it got a little much, and then we pulled back, and then sometimes maybe we got a little too, generic with it. So we just want to be very mindful of it moving forward, and to make sure that when we do kill someone, life matters, and that it has an effect, and that there's a consequence, and there's a response to it, and it's emotional.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of killing... So I would imagine Mike Weston's going to be particularly impacted by Deborah's death. Do you want to talk about that, Sean?
Well, like we were saying before, this season picks up like a year afterwards. And so, not only, I think, is Weston very affected by, losing two partners, really.
Right.
Agent Riley, I forgot to say that. That was a twist that really got me, too.
Yeah.
Agent Riley in was it the third episode?
Yeah.
That was really effective. I
He
thought that
had
was
to go
amazing.
back to Dexter.
Yeah. We love Billy Brown.
So he could be killed.
I know right when we couldn't use him anymore, so we decided to kill him. He went back to Dexter, and they killed him.
Poor Billy. This season, the thing that I really loved about Weston's arc this season is, from the pilot, he was sort of this shiny penny, kind of excited to be a part of it. And as the season progressed, sort of got a little more worn down. And what I thought by the end of the season, which is interesting, and I think what will continue into the second season, is I thought that there's kind of a mirror between Weston and Hardy in that sense. Hardy got really worn down during the first Joe Carroll chase, and I think that sort of is affecting Weston the same way. So certainly I think Parker's death will really affect him. And also the response to, let's be honest, Hardy and Weston kidnapped and basically killed a detainee. In handcuffs. So there certainly will be repercussions to that moving forward.
Will there be repercussions for that for Ryan also?
Well, yeah, but I think that that's one of the things is we're going to jump ahead in time, as Kevin mentioned, and we have the opportunity to then look at what happened to these characters during that year between this last scene that we teased and a year later. I think in Kevin's vision for the show, everyone that we meet next year is at a really, really different place in their lives. And Ryan seems lighter and in a way more at peace than you've ever seen him in the show. And he has finally been able to find something in his life that steps him away from all of the killing and the violence. And that's going to be a fun thing for me to play.
And where does a year later find our little Emma Hill?
Emma really lost everything at the end of season 1. The cult is seemingly disbanded, and Joe Carroll is seemingly dead. Of course, she lives in hope, as always, that he'll turn up. And jumping ahead, she will have to learn how to live without that protection and that infrastructure of the cult and the motivation of Joe Carroll. And she will have grown and changed a lot. Maybe she will have met some new friends.
That doesn't sound good.
Nothing Emma says ever sounds good. And I know I'm excited to see what becomes of her when she is left to her own devices.
Is she the new Joe Carroll?
Well, nobody could ever replace Joe Carroll,
That's my girl.
Whether Whether he has some competition from Emma has yet to be seen.
Are you working on a new look with this new hairstyle?
The hair, this was actually something that I just did when I sort of had some time away. Definitely, Emma's look is going to have to change because she is on the lam, she is avoiding the authorities. She can't have the very recognizable look that she had in season 1. Again, what that's going to be, I don't know yet, but it has to be enough that she'll be able to dodge the authorities for a significant period of time.
It'll be fun for Valerie to play multiple looks in order to operate in the world, because people know what she looks like.
Right.
So she'll be in disguise a lot.
Interesting. You guys were definitely also put through your paces filming some pretty hard scenes. I mean, Sean, for example, you were beaten up a lot.
I was, yeah. I mean,
I noticed.
every other episode I'd get a script and I'd be like, oh, knife wound, gunshot, severe beating. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin.
What did you do to deserve that?
You have to ask.
I immediately knew the writers in the writers' room. We just immediately fell in love with Weston and Ryan. We thought they had a really great relationship, and I sort of feel like the whole first season was simply just sort of the prologue, and now we can really, explore these relationships in a more meaningful way. And I'm very excited to see how Mike and Ryan sort of progress now that a year has passed, now that they've had that shared horrific first season, and what it's done to both of them, and where they're at. And are they going to work together? Are they going to be friends? Are they going to be even around each other? Or are they going to be hostile? I mean, it's an interesting relationship because you do sort of have the father-son, mentor-student. There's a lot going on there in that relationship. It's very rich territory to mine.
Well, Ryan's death.
He's way too old to be my son. Thank you very much.
No, I mean,
How about uncle, nephew?
theoretically, it's just like the metaphor of it.
Oh, that was true. Actually.
How about Batman and Robin?
Oh, there you go.
Batman and Robin.
It's just it's just a good. I think it has a lot going on there. So, because you also have Ryan, who doesn't have any family, or does he? And and we sort of see. Well, you're going to learn all that in the next season. We're going to open up the world and sort of tell sort of a character thriller, more relationship oriented.
Will Ryan's death curse continue to play out?
Yeah, I mean, I think that as I said, when we see him, he's at a happier, lighter place in his life. But he's a guy that is never too far away from some very dark stuff that lives in his soul, and he lives with a lot of guilt and a lot of pain, and we'll have to see where that starts to rear its head again. I think it will certainly come out in some ways sooner or later.
And Mr. Purefoy, what has Joe Carroll been up to for the past year?
Growing a beard.
Grown a beard, obviously. I suspect he's been doing a little bit of soul searching and seeing where the plan...
Does he have a soul?
But that's what I mean. He's actually searching for his soul. So I suspect he's trying to see where the plan went awry. And we'll come back with double the strength, I hope, and double the force. But I think he's going to have a little bit of time on his own, out of the city. Is that right?
Yeah, there's a little reinvention, this guy. I mean, things didn't go so well for Joe. He made he was a little selfish last year. He's got this whole following that's going to do everything for him, and then he just wants to get his family back together and write a book. So, he may just have to figure out a new way and just sort of, reimagine who he is as a man and a killer and all those fun things.
He needs to open up and just make more friends.
Yeah. I mean, let's face it, that Edgar Allan Poe stuff didn't work so well, so he's going to have to figure out a new way. So
just how widespread is that cult going to get?
Well, the internet is a global thing after all, isn't it? It doesn't just... we tended to... Our locale was kind of the eastern seaboard and Virginia, and, there are followers everywhere.
In this room?
Possibly. In this room, I don't know. Are there? I think you have your answer.
Do we have to worry again about little Joey?
No.
I'm worried about little Joey growing up to be a serial killer. That's my worry.
Season 4.
Good to know. Will we get to know more about Joe's backstory? Are we going to see more flashbacks?
I suspect.
Yes, we are. That's one of the fun things. You know, there's so much about these two men and all the other characters that we haven't really explored. And I think one of the things we are going to learn about Joe Carroll is we are going to flash back and we're going to see, you know, how did this man become this way? What happened in his past? And where were the, you know, the seeds of evil planted, and the whole, you know, nature versus nurture argument will be explored, and we'll find out, we'll flash back and maybe see some of his family life when he was a small child. We'll see him when he was, you know, a young adult. We'll see him, you know, we'll sort of explore all those areas.
It's just very, very exciting being able to come back and do a second season and really go back in and explore these characters even more and give them more depth and more texture and more substance so that you all have a much better time, you know, and that's all we're doing it for, is you guys, you know.
The cops, you know, seem to be always a step behind in season 1. Is there any thought to giving them a leg up in season 2?
Well, I mean, that's the thing, is like we were always, you know, the FBI are the underdogs in the story, and, you know, they just got a little too underdoggy about it. And, you know, and you know, we believe me, we recognize that, you know, they perhaps they were a little dumb, but... Hey, no. But, you know, it got to a situation where, you know, we just couldn't win because they couldn't catch the bad guys, and they certainly couldn't catch the person you want to keep alive. But, you know, we sort of learned a lot from that season and got in the chase of it all. And that's why I say next year we're not really, it's not such a chase. It's not such an FBI-focused show, and it's a little more of Ryan Hardy, Joe Carroll, and all these new characters. And we're, you know, with Emma and Agent Weston, and, you know. It's a brand new story we're sort of resetting, and that's what moving forward 1 year later gives us. It gives us an opportunity to sort of, you know, explore a whole new story with a bunch of new characters, sort of like move in and out of these characters.
What else did you learn from season 1 that's going to play out in season 2? Anything else that you would do differently?
A lot. I mean, how much time we got? You know, I mean, there's just so much. We learned a lot, you know, and it's ever moving forward. You know, you just keep moving. You just keep learning and evolving, and, you know, we just want to make the best show possible, and that's what we're trying to do, is just make it better. And I feel like I've got some great actors and a lot of great people with some fun characters, and we can just keep moving forward and just keep telling new stories, you know, and just go deeper and deeper and more and scarier and fun and thrill. It's going to have, you know, the fun of last season, of course, and the pace and the thrills and the twists and the turns, but also it's going to give us an opportunity just to tell a new story.
For all the actors, or we can go down the road, what was your favorite scene or your favorite episode?
Mine was the Fight Club stuff I got to do. That was so fun. That was my first interaction with Warren Cole as Roderick, which was amazing. I thought he was great. And it was just, for me, it was what broke Weston. It was sort of what started him down this sort of slightly darker road that I really love to play. So that was my favorite stuff.
My two scenes, I had one where Joe comes home to the cult for the very first time, and he's reunited with his son, Joey. I thought that was sort of a powerful scene. And then when Joe Carroll killed Charlie, and I sort of felt that's when I thought the show was working on all cylinders. I thought, you know, the directing, the score, our composer created the score, the editing, the acting. I thought it all came together. The lighting, the mood, everything came together for me in that scene. And I thought I was just very proud to be a part of the show at that point.
I seem to remember, I don't know what episode it was, but I'd been doing a lot of chasing and running, as I like to say, I'm always coming around corners, you know. And all of a sudden, got tied up at the farmhouse, and we had 3 or 4 scenes to play where I couldn't leave the chair. And there was something all of a sudden really kind of fun about that and freeing, because he sort of, it was a new side that Kevin found to that character, which was a little more of a wise ass and more of a sort of intellectual game playing with the bad guy. So that was a fun moment for me.
For me, it was Ryan and Mike unable to save Annie, just that whole sequence, and when they get there, and even when we were shooting it, these guys, I didn't have to direct a whole lot because they actually got emotional. I got emotional behind the camera as it was happening, and Annie was pretty amazing in all of that, so I have that as the moment for me.
I think it was 2 scenes. The first was actually the first scene that I shot when we started shooting the season in episode 2 in New York, which was the flashback to the bookstore where Emma meets Joe Carroll, and which laid the groundwork for everything that character is about and what she reflects on. And then, the other side of that is the other scene where she's reunited with him finally at the mansion, and no words are spoken, but just the gratification. It's the most gratifying scene that character got to experience, I think, in the entire series or entire season. And yeah, it was very emotional.
I think I enjoyed every single scene that I shot because I was working with just really wonderful actors and directors, and every single one of them stepped up to the plate, and they were all marvelous. I suppose because the mental chess game between Joe Carroll and Ryan Hardy was so complicated and so complex and so strange often, and there was one particular day when we shot a scene where I'm behind glass, and it was in a bunker, and we stuck 4 or 5 scenes together, so it became a 16-minute take. And that was a really exciting day to do, because we did, half a dozen different takes of a 16-minute take, and you can really get your teeth into something when you're turning over for that long, and you can really feel that you're just beginning to inhabit the
It felt like
the
theater.
part. It did. It just felt like theater, and of course, I loved that.
I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions. If you want to start to line up, I'm just going to ask these guys one more, but if you want to start lining up, I'll throw it out to you. So one last question. Any new actors you've been cast for the new season you can tell us about?
Nobody's been cast yet?
No one's been cast yet, but yes, we're definitely going to have some, new characters. We're going to have some new leads, some that are going to sort of interface with these characters, good characters, bad characters. We have there'll be a brand new cast that will move along with these guys forward.
Good.
Well, yeah.
And hopefully they'll survive?
Well,
No.
Why would you think that?
why would
And just come up with more creative ways to kill them off.
Well, yes and no. That's the fun of the show. It's meant to sort of be, a page turner. Hopefully that it'll keep in that spirit. So we just want to tell it's a crazy thrill ride every week, and hopefully it'll just continue. But it'll just, we'll just enrich it and make it better.
And we'll enjoy every minute of it.
No, I think the fans who watch it. Yeah, we're really appreciative of you guys, because we didn't know how it was going to be taken. You guys made it. You guys watched it, and we're. You know how hard it is to do TV. It's hard. It's really hard to do a TV show, and then people to respond to it, and so I'm so grateful that we have an audience, and we've been allowed the opportunity to have a season 2. I'm very grateful. So, that's my little thank you.
All right, first question.
We have time for one question.
Oh no.
Oh, bright lights.
And it's you, sir.
Hi, my name is Adriel. I have a question for Kevin Bacon. Have you asked the writers for season 2 to give you more of those sarcastic Ryan lines or anything like that? Because those were my favorite parts of the first season as well.
Yeah, we have talked about that, and I'm glad you're mentioning it here, because I think it's gonna land. So thank you for that. Well, we'll try our best to get some sarcasm in there. Thank you.
Yeah. Is that it?
Sorry, I didn't realize it ran so long. Well, I just want to thank the cast and executive producers of the show, the following, and thanks to all of you guys for supporting
Yes,
the show.
thank you guys. Thank you.